Hello, Dr. Sharma. Thank you for joining us once again for another session on mental health. Today is June 19, 2020, and we thank you and welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vasconcelos. It's very good to be back with you. Look forward to another program on mental health issues.
Well, thank you, Doc. And today, I would like to discuss with you finding a new purpose. Currently, there are worldwide over 8.6 million people diagnosed with COVID-19, of which approximately 500,000 are dead. Just in the US, we have in excess of 2.2 million people, of which 120,000 are dead. Dealing right now with COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, compounded with unemployment, social justice fight, systematic racism, and angry people. The question for you today is, why should we find a new purpose?
Well, Doc, I think you just gave all the reasons, and we're seeing them in the grim statistics that are there, that we're losing a lot of people that should still be with us, and we grieve for them. We're truly saddened by this terrible tragedy that has hit mankind. And we've had many of these tragedies, but have we truly learned to become better as a human race? And I'm not sure that that is something that we can raise our hands and say, yes, we're all proud to be of this human race that is so advanced above all other animals in the animal kingdom. I'm of the feeling that we're actually at a very lower rung, and we see that in the behaviors of our leaders, the behaviors of people when they get angry, the lack of control, the fact that we are still vulnerable to a virus, and that even with all the advances of medical science, we still can't find the treatments that could stall this illness, that we're not allowing science to progress because of being of value systems that may not be right, the fact that we're slowing down progress because of differences in belief systems and lack of openness, and just total hostility towards each other, towards progress in terms of being kinder and being caring and being supportive. The materialism of our society is driving people into behaviors that is not healthy. Persons just seem to be more preoccupied in making profit, even profit from this terrible illness that is plaguing us at this time. So the thing you give those reasons in what you said in your opening statement, that there is so much that is negative in our world today, the destruction of our environment, the pollution that is so steep, that a virus had to come, and now we're seeing clear skies in over many countries. It's not the way it should be. There should be all the efforts to protect this planet. And nature has a way of turning back against people, against mankind itself, and showing that nature is the power. And we're paying a price for bad behaviors, and we must change. Doc, I think it's the time we got to look at inside, look at what's going on outside, and make that change. Doc, I think we've lost volume. Are you getting some volume?
From a psychological point of view, what new purpose can we find through the crisis we experience?
So I think the purposes of come with reflection. So for everybody, there will be a different purpose. Or for some, there may be no purpose. They may say, well, I'm comfortable with my way of life and I don't see a need to change. But honestly, I think if we truly open our minds to what we've been talking over the past several months doing the series that we do, we can explore and see there is always a need to grow and be better. And no man is, or lady or child is stagnated in this world. We end when we die, so we're still living. So there's the opportunity to be better and to progress and make a better society. If we just look around us and say, well, I don't see a purpose in my life, I'm quite happy with who I am, that's not right, because if you look around, you will see there's so much that can be done and so much that needs to be done. Even if we start finding a purpose in our neighborhood, and even if we don't go to our neighborhood, we start finding a purpose in our homes, and if we don't go to our homes, we start finding a purpose in our own selves. So I believe there is much need for change, and we can start looking at the changes from inside ourselves as it changes to make ourselves a better individual, remove negative habits and behaviors, improve our physical health, improve our nutrition, improve our immune status, look at our emotional health and improve that, and then start to think wider. How do I recognize changes that can make my life with others better? Look at my relationship, my family, my community, my spirituality. Do I have enough time given to hobbies and to make joy for myself? Do I give myself enough time to enjoy life, or is it all work? Am I into just making so much material wealth that I don't even have the time to enjoy it? So there's tremendous need for personal change and change within the system that we live in, making a better world for all of us, and especially for our children.
Doc, you touch on quite a few items there. So, kind of someone who takes the approach or may lack the ability to have an open mind or objective thinking or to realize the importance of self care. You mentioned a lot about exercise and diet and rest. For someone who might be a little bit confused, what's the first step in terms of a methodology? What would be the first step?
I like that. I think it's a good question, and it makes us want to go to our next point of reflection. I believe reflection is the key to making us become better, because then we can reflect on ourselves, reflect our role in the society that we live in. And it's through a process called reflection. And reflection is just taking time off to self evaluate, to see who am I and what am I all about? What are my value systems? What do I really value in this life? Is my life having a purpose, or am I just living day to day, bringing in, you know, financial gains and looking after my family and making progress? But to what end? So, time out to taking time off to reflect, to look at ourselves to see what defenses we use, what barriers we put up, to recognizing our own limitations. And human beings do put up these defenses at an unconscious level to not know what is that barrier that's affecting us in our relationship with other people. Getting to know ourselves is sometimes difficult because we always tend to think of ourselves in the best light, but it's through the eyes of others. So being open to what our children tell us about ourselves, our partners, our friends are very important. So I think the first step would be to reflect, look into ourselves, see what our deficiencies are, and then making a list of those areas that we value most. And it could be a list of 9 or 10 things, which would include some of those things I mentioned: our physical health, our friendships, our relationships, our spirituality, our children, how we deal with them, our community life, our hobbies and interests. So there are a number of social situations, or even our material wealth and gains and so on, or political views. So it's a sort of comprehensive description of what is important to us as an individual, and then creating a list also of what we should be doing to achieve change, making that new purpose towards changing for the better. So I think it comes back to being honest, see what our being is all about. Who am I? What are my deficiencies? and overcoming those deficiencies towards becoming better. There are many strategies that we can use. I mean, if you take each one of those things that I mentioned and look to finding a strategy, it's straightforward. It's there. It's right on the paper. And if we don't know a strategy, then there's a lot of resources out there that can find them. If my thinking, for example, is constantly negative, then I'm a good candidate for cognitive behavior therapy, where I can change a lot of my negative assertions. If I have prejudice and it's very bad and it's affecting other people, I need to reflect on it. I need to get a feedback and I need to see how I can change that. If I have anger management issues, then anger management is the way forward. There's a lot of solutions, as you know, Dr. Vasconcelos. If my spirituality is underdeveloped and I've been denying it to myself, then let me talk to somebody. It's again an open-minded way of thinking. Let me just open my mind to see what is there rather than closing it and saying, I've developed to the best that I can be. I don't see a new purpose. I don't see a new change. This COVID virus is teaching us that we must take time off to be with each other. It is because of that interaction that people can get the COVID. And it's because of that interaction that we can conquer this virus, that we can support each other in measures that sometimes seems a bit difficult. But it's because of that working together, the common respect for each other values and rules and regulations, that we can make things work. People must respect the rules of nature and the rules of law. They are there to protect us. We cannot individually start making our own rules and regulations. So that's the way forward that I see, Dr. Vasquez. Make a new change, make a new purpose.
Dr. Sharma, you've given us a lot to reflect on. And I think it's so important for us to be honest with ourselves and to recognize that there is always hope. And there are people like yourself, professionals, that are available to provide help. But we start by being honest with ourselves. And I thank you for that. And we need a lot of reflection on truly what's our purpose and mission in life. May God richly bless you. Do you have any final thoughts before we conclude?
Yes, I think it's good for us again to recognize what defense mechanisms we are using. And these things block out truth if it's applied negatively. So if somebody's in denial that this is the reality of what's happening, um, then you need to overcome that denial so that you can move forward. The goal in life is to be harmonious with each other. We got to make that balance happen. And it can happen. The way forward is not for outrage and vandalizing people property and expressing anger in behaviors are not acceptable. Let's follow the rules of law and the rules of nature. I think if we can keep to that, keep things simple, we'll make this world a better place.
Well, I hope that those listening to your message will have the ability to share this with others at every leadership level. May God richly bless you. And until we meet again, you stay safe, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. It's good to be back with you.